Hello, Glitter Witches, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I wanted to share with you Christianity. I want to evangelize to you. Just kidding. I did want to talk about how Christianity influences my practice, though. It's been a question I've kind of gotten on and off, and I felt like I really haven't fully addressed it. So I wanted to talk about it today, give you my perspective, some things that I use in my craft that are either directly Christian or have Christian influences, and kind of why I came to the conclusion that I needed to incorporate these things into my practice, and how it's actually helped, heal some trauma for me, and how it's helped me sit in my own power. So if you're interested in that kind of video, let's get this thing started. So, Christianity and my practice, what a subject. Maybe it's not. I know for some people it's a huge turnoff, and I've kind of been enlightened to that more and more as I kind of commune with people that Christian influences can be a big turnoff for a lot of people. But it does influence my practice quite a bit. So that's really what kind of pushed me to decide I need to talk more openly about this. Because maybe it will help other people find other ways maybe to help with their trauma, maybe give a different perspective. So before we get started, I did want to let you guys know to comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. Also, there's links down below for wine and witchcraft and everything else you may need to know. Also, this Saturday, I will be on Drunken Divinations. I'll leave a link down below for that. But enough about the shameless promotion. Let's get started. Talking about Christian influences in witchcraft can be a taboo subject for some people. And if it's not really taboo, it can be kind of uncomfortable or off-putting. And I wanted to talk about it specifically for that reason. And particularly because why I think that is. So many of us have come to witchcraft or paganism, either or both, from Christianity. And I think a lot of us suffer trauma and wounds from those experiences within Christianity. And when we transition spiritually or religiously into something else, I think we look to run as far away from that as we can. And anything that touches that open wound or represents that experience, we have almost a trauma response to it, where we can't let that be okay. We can't have those kind of influences within our practices or support those kind of ideals. And I know I have felt that, even starting off on my own journey of the great debate years ago was, can you be a Christian witch? And I'm not saying I'm a Christian witch, because I'm not, but it was debates like that, ideals like that, that kind of kept me on this path of it's either this or that. There's no kind of intermingling of the two. And as I've gotten older and surrounded myself with different people, I realized that's not the truth. For me, going through a lot of self-exploration and analysis of my own feelings and my own perception, but also looking around to other people and different segments of the community and content, I started to change my perspective on how I was looking at it. It seemed like so many people, myself included, were traumatized by our experience with Christianity that we couldn't fathom marrying this newfound freedom of, magic and spiritual awakening with something that was so demeaning and constraining. But through this analysis and thought process, I started to realize that, yes, I suffer from religious trauma, but was it my spiritual connection to deity that did that, or was it people that did that? And that's when my mental focus changed of, am I harboring this against that deity? Is it the deity that caused this, or is this something that man created, that, people of the church created. And that's when I realized that's what it is. My trauma isn't created by God. It was created by people who wanted to use the alleged word of God to control and demean and dictate cult-like activities, to degrade people. Misogyny at its best, really. So when I started having these kind of revelations and thoughts, I started to share them with people around me, other witches. And through that, I started to learn about other practices like some conjure and, hoodoo, Appalachian folk magic, traditions that have a marry of Christian influences, and starting to read and learn about those, it really solidified what I felt, that our religious trauma is caused by people, not by deity. Now look, do I use the Judeo-Christian God in practice? I do. Do I believe in hell and everything that comes along with it? No. I think through a lot of research that much smarter people are doing than I am, but watching it and reading this research, you can see that there's a lot of translational issues, and the idea of what we know as modern Christianity is not really accurate, but that's a different thing. What I'm really trying to say is our religious trauma, I think, is created by other people, not our connection with that deity within said practice. So all that leads me to this. I am really heavily influenced by, Christian and Catholicism within my practice. I think a lot of what I do, people would not consider witchcraft. They would consider something else. But I think for me, that's the appropriate term, so that's what I call it. But I wanted to show you some of the things that I do use. I don't have a lot, as most of you know. I travel for work, so I'm very limited on my physical resources. But a lot of what I do and started to incorporate into my practice was saint work. It's something that I felt was very direct, easy, relatively to do, and garnered wonderful results. So there's two saints that I've worked with pretty regularly right now, and that's Santa Barbara. She's a great protector and great at cutting down enemies. You can look her up, and also Saint Expedite, which there's a video on my channel about him, which I'll put in the eye and maybe in the description below. Use the Conjure Cards by Jake Richards. He has two great books, Doctoring the Devil and Backwoods Witchcraft, which talk about conjure, Appalachian folk magic, a lot of Christian influences. And what's interesting about that is people who practice this type of magic, it may look like witchcraft, it may sound like witchcraft, but that's not what it is to these people. So if someone who practices this magic and has this history and this family lineage, just because they may call themselves a witch doesn't mean everyone who practices this would call themselves a witch. So we just have to remember that. And then the other two things you guys are very familiar with, Hoodoo and the Psalms by Taryn S., the House of Witchcraft. This is really cool if you want to use the Psalms in your practice. Recently I was in a book club and we were talking about another book, and a lot of witches do not feel comfortable using the Psalms in their practice because they don't believe the words, or they have a problem with the verbiage, which is completely understandable. But I relate to it really heavily growing up with it. And what I find interesting is these words have been written for thousands of years. So many millions, maybe even billions of people have spoken these words. And when I think about that, I think about the energy that's put into those words, the intention that's put into those words, and to be able to tap into that kind of power, I think is astonishing, honestly. The last thing that I use, not so much anymore since having the Hoodoo and the Psalms book, is this Bible. It's the Illuminated Bible, and I got it just because I thought that it was beautiful. You can write notes and stuff, and I just thought it was pretty. But since I got the Hoodoo and the Psalms book, I don't use this so much anymore. I also use the rosary as prayer beads. I do things like that. I say prayers, I use the Psalms, I do use the Judeo-Christian God in spellcraft, and I have gotten fantastic results because of that. I guess the point of this video really is kind of piggybacking off multiple conversations that are going on in the community. I think that it's good to read stuff that makes you uncomfortable. I think it's good to be well read and well educated. I also think it's good to analyze your own thought processes and why you avoid certain things. I know for me, if I would have continued to do what other people were telling me to do, I wouldn't have made the progress that I have had in my own practice, because I would have been stunted by other people, by their opinions, by their perspective. And for me, being able to incorporate these things and having an identity that not only I believe in, but that I understand, and a practice that feels like my own and feels personal, and being able to embrace these things that not only feel nostalgic, but feel powerful, I'm able to heal some of my religious trauma. I'm able to heal those wounds in a way I didn't think I could. I don't think things like these are black and white. I just don't. So with that being said, I encourage each and every one of you to explore your practice, explore your thoughts, explore your comfortability level, step outside your comfort zone, try something new. And by all means, I'm not saying go incorporate Christian aspects into your practice. That's not the point of the video. The point is try something new. If you're uncomfortable with anything, ritualistic magic, or you're uncomfortable with body fluids, ask yourself why. Analyze that, look into that, explore that, and see why. You never know what's waiting for you behind that door. And you never know how far your practice could go, how it could grow if you open up your mind's eye to new things. I want to thank you all for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. I would love to hear your thoughts and your commentary in the comment section below. Make a video response if you feel so obliged. Until next time, Glitter Witches. Bye.